Good afternoon. We can do better than that after Ingrid's speech. Good afternoon. Let's get a quick housekeeping thing out of the way. The government is tracking Tropical Storm Melissa. At the moment, the weather authorities assure us that at the moment, we are not directly impacted, but that doesn't mean that each and every one of us shouldn't calmly begin to prepare, if you haven't already, top up your supplies calmly, orderly, as we continue to track the storm. If the current most worst case scenario happens, it may just move east of the sister islands. So continue to pray for these islands. You might think that Shamari, Ingrid, and Omari and I colluded on our speeches. We have not. I didn't know what they were going to say. But there is a running theme here today. Mr. Speaker, thank you for organizing the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and the visiting delegations post-election seminar, because one of the sessions yesterday was presented by Sir Alden McLaughlin on the evolution of our Constitution. And a portion of his presentation was discussing our constitutional decisions 1959, where we decided, or those fishermen decided, whether or not we were going to go with Jamaica and continue to be their colony, go independent, or go with the UK and become their overseas territory. I can imagine, and some of you have heard me give this example before, the pressure they had to be under to make that decision. And I think we would all agree that they came to the correct conclusion, which is why you're seeing, I believe, all of these 60th anniversaries popping up. Because something happened around this time. There's more, because I think CUC should be up there, but just as a quick glance, I got you, Mr. Ritchie. Just as a quick glance, these are firms that are either turned 60 or about to turn 60 or over 60. So something happened around this time that sparked our economic journey. And as Shamari said, where's Shamari? It had to do with vision. So in the 2021 Chamber Forum, some of you might remember that I reference that a young journalist by the name of Will Pinot did an exit interview with Sir Vassal Johnson. And in that article, which I still have in black and white, you asked Sir Vassal to explain what his vision was. And he said how he thought about in 1965 having, with the government and the private sector, the Companies Act and other pieces of legislation, because he had a vision of financial services coming to this island. And Governor, I will remind you that in that article, not to remind you, you know, but to remind the UK that in that article, Sir Vassal went to the Foreign Office with his vision and a plan and got them to sign off on the plan. So we didn't roll out of bed, have some rogue jurisdiction that just started all this. He presented his plan and got Foreign Office sign off for it. With that vision, we were on our way. And now, look at financial services today. It's deliberately small because we have to get it all on one page. But this is every AML, tax, compliance, regulatory initiative the country has signed up to from the 1960s to now. Those of you in financial services already know this, But if you're outside of financial services and you want to copy this on the Financial Services Ministry's website, you can hold your head held high that the Cayman Islands could not be a tax haven when you are signed up to all of that. But now, we need to start thinking about where we're going to take the country from here. Because although we've had incredible growth, extraordinary progress, in the last decade or two, we have sort of stalled to get to the big decisions, the decisions that are going to transform the country and fulfill not just Sir Vassal Johnson's vision, but a new vision of where we could take the country. In fact, when some of Sir Vassal's family have allowed me to go into the books they still have of his vision, we haven't actually completed all of what that man dreamed up. But in order to do that, we're going to have to take some tough decisions. Things that have been lingering around. Housing policies. Immigration reform. I'll just say it how we call it in the country, the dump. Start to accelerate to renewable energy, the East-West arterial. The prison is in badly need of reform. People might say, well, why do you have to spend money on that? If all hell broke loose, people would say, who was asleep at the wheel there? A national stormwater management plan, affordable access to health care, reliable public transport, a development plan, beach renourishment, the list goes on. We cannot ignore these issues any longer. This will be a term of transformation. So therefore, we've set out our broad outcomes as the National Coalition for Caymanians in our SPS to have a bold vision of where we're going to take the country and the broad outcomes we seek to achieve. Some of you who watch Parliament or follow public affairs know that the purpose of the SPS is for the government to look out for the next 2 years in particular, but 28 is tacked on as well, to show the country broadly where we are headed. We've done that and delivered that in Parliament last week. So that means now we are preparing for transformation now, and what is the blank slate of where we're going to take the country for the next 25 years and set the foundation. There are already proof points, in case you're looking at me and saying this sounds like pie in the sky, of us trying to tackle these issues now. Immigration reform bill is out now. It has to be tackled. We need a system, a better system that protects Caymanians, moves them forward to career pathways, not just one job, but to the executive. In exchange for that, be able to get permission and work permits when needed to get talent on the island in a more expedited fashion, and a better methodology of who becomes a citizen in this country. Omari highlighted it. There's no stopping AI now. Everybody is using it. We got to get our arms around it and decide what are the guardrails to help mitigate risk, and how do we maximize it in every segment of society. And we're so happy under Minister Isaac's leadership. Minister, are you here? He's here. Under your innovation ministry to take the task force, seek the advice, the subcommittees that they're going to form, collect up information, what's going to happen with education, link in with Minister Anglin. We know there are token funds that need to be done. The legislation is out. Heyman, I got you. We know that the drafts went out. There's a little back and forth between industry and the regulator. We're going to solve it like we always do in Cayman, because we know we need to get on the front foot to make sure that our products stay fresh. A range of other company and ELP changes are coming to keep the products fresh. Because we also have to look for different sources of business. So this is me about 3 weeks ago in New York at the India Embassy, where I met the Consul General for India, because we're planning mutual fund regulations that passport our funds into India. So it's exactly the mutual fund regulations now, but just like the Japan regs, as an overlay of what the India regulator wants, that will help our investment funds transition and be utilized in the Indian market. So that will require some travel. You'll have to see ministers are going to travel. If everything runs on time, Minister Anglin in Parliament, we should be going to the JMC, the Joint Ministerial Council meeting of all the OTs in the UK. Minister Cathy should be going, Minister Jay is going to be going. Yes, a lot of things happen digitally online through Zoom. But as some of you know, particularly in business, nothing really entrenches a professional relationship than that personal touch. So they get to know you, and if something happens, you can pick up the phone. You have them on WhatsApp when you need them, or when they need you. So we have ministers on the road now. This is a shot of this week, folks, of DP Ruddy and Minister Jay at the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association conference right now. I can assure you that DP Ruddy and Minister Jay look just like this in caucus. Just like this. Don't they pay attention just like that, Minister Anglin? Pretty much, most of the time. They're on the road right now to try to think about how we're going to continue to improve cruise tourism. And while that work is going on, Minister Jay has also been busy because we in caucus have supported his organizational review to streamline the planning process and make it far more efficient. So I think a number of you, maybe in construction and development, have had sidebar meetings with Minister Jay, but it is real. We are supporting the reorganization because we know the pain points in those departments, and his plan is going to come to fruition. Now, some of you might say, yeah, you see, the premier is talking to the business crowd, so he talked about planning. Then he'll go into another room and say something else to the environment. All right, I'll fix you. Yesterday in Cabinet, we have approved Minister Cathy going to the UK to seek the extension by the UK of the Paris Agreement to the Cayman Islands. That agreement shows a global collective action on climate adaptation and mitigation. Some of you may say that the targets there are lofty, maybe unachievable. They mirror what's already in our climate change policy anyhow. Be that as may, the world has to take a collective step forward, because it's not just a green initiative, it's also a money issue. The money that can be saved. Isn't that right, Mr. Hugh? Yeah, you nod, go ahead. The money that can be saved on energy costs if we push to renewables. We know we got some stuff to streamline, but we're gonna get there. The money that can be saved, the healthier living that can come from it. That's what that agreement is really about, not just some sort of Green Party initiative. And we also need to continue our leadership as an OT, because the only other OT to have it extended is Gibraltar. Cayman must be able to do better than that. Let's take and reclaim our leadership position on all fronts. caucus has also supported, which will be out soon, a 10-year housing plan by, again, Minister Jay. So since the minister is on the road, is his chief officer in the House? No? I'd have given Eric some shine, DG, if he was here. Maybe he's out on a phone call. You stand on his behalf. Hey! That ministry has taken a private sector firm who gave them suggestions on our 10-year plan, how we can make housing much more affordable with public-private partnerships to ensure that our Caymanians can access housing. The caucus is terribly excited about this policy. So, we also are quite serious, I think Omar, you mentioned this too, on the trade task force that had been set up under the DP. Now, in that meeting, Woody was there, and Woody was one of the very vocal speakers, as he normally is, to say, we can't stand all day doing a report that nobody will read. We need some action items, deliverables that we can do to get this done, because I want to pass on the cost savings to the customer. We've heard that, we've taken a note, and we're trying to create a punch list of the things that we can tangibly do to bring down the cost of goods coming to the country, including a full-scale review of the pricing codes of duty to see what we can offset now to deliver less expensive goods to our people. So that's a proof point that the items and the initiatives that I'm talking about have already started. But we know that there's more. We got to do the development plan, human capital workforce. I'm going to say it twice so it's not unclear, the East-West Arterial. Continue to enhance education. And we need a stronger, more efficient, and our partner, public service. So far, the DG and this cabinet and all of the elected, non-elected officials have been working in fantastic partnership. But we know that there's transformation that needs to occur there. So we know under these goals and major works that are going to happen, skip too far. We are going to have a look at the Procurement Act. We're going to have to look at the Public Authorities Act. We already started to look at the Public Management and Finance Act, accounting standards. We're going to have to look at data protection to make sure that this army of ours of the civil service delivers even more efficient service. So DG, I didn't mean to ask you to stand before because you stood for a chief officer, but this is your cue to actually stand because he has announced a very orderly transition of retirement on your birthday of July next year. Now, before anybody claps, I want to give the DG his moment in the sun. He has led a civil service to extremely better heights than when he founded, and you're putting forward a plan so that it goes even beyond what you have done. You have delivered for this country, and you deserve a round of applause. Now, before I get to the next slide, you might say, yeah, Mr. NCFC, that all sounds good, but how are we going to be able to measure and keep up you actually going to do all this? Enter the chamber scorecard. We view the scorecard in the NCFC as a welcome tool where we're going to be acting in partnership. Not that we're the students and you're the teachers marking an exam, that we are working hand in hand to see how we are tracking our performance. because ultimately we want the same thing. We want to see the country produce better outcomes. So I appreciate your comments about the way in which we've acted in partnership so far. We are terribly excited to continue working with the Chamber and its leadership on these issues. Thank you. Now for the next slide. You might then look at me and say, all right, you got your big priorities, you got your team together, but how do we know you'll actually stay together? How do we know this isn't 2.0 of the last administration? Because of one of my favorite quotes from Peter Drucker, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So we can do all of this, but if we don't get along and we squabble, this is for the kids, so I won't use that word, mess up, it's all for naught. So we have proof points there too. The NCFC has signed a coalition agreement in transparent form, recorded, where I signed and all 10 members signed, to show the public that we have heard you, but we need coordination of our politics. And I am very pleased, as I said it on air, that Ralston, Malachi, Anglin, on the wee hours of election morning, to say he is not moving forward unless we have a written document. Doing it to coincide with the SPS was deliberate. It gave us time to get to know each other. I know when we get to 5 o'clock in caucus, Minister Nick gets agitated. He arrives on time. So you want something out of him, you gotta catch him early. Don't ask him 5:36. You might not get an answer. So we got to get to know each other. And on top of that, why produce 2 documents? If we were doing all the hard yards and locking ourselves up in a room to plan the SPS, the budget, and the priorities, it might as well be appended to the coalition agreement, because then the country is able to see both. How we're gonna operate, how we're gonna cooperate, how we're gonna resolve matters, and what the priorities are. Thank you, NCFC team. God bless you. Now, Parliament. This is the one occasion that I might be able to direct the presiding officer of Parliament. So I am going to ask the Speaker of the House to stand. Yeah. The Honorable D. Ezzard Miller has a vision to elevate the stature of Parliament in the country again. And I thank you, sir, for that vision. Not only have you invited students, you've invited the business community to be recognized. That vision is hugely important, and I thank you for it. That vision leads me to recognize the opposition. Because fine, the executive has bound together, but there's occasions where we need all 19. So we began to take a look at how we could work better together. There's a proposal from the leader of the opposition to elevate the office of the leader of the opposition in the Constitution. So take names and faces out of it. When we have been in discussions now, with members of the Commonwealth who have come from their parliament, they have told us that the standard is that the leader of the opposition gets resources outside of being an MP, because there'll be things that he or she will have to respond to the executive that are outside of constituency work, and we are woefully behind. So we caucused about it, had a few conversations, but recognizing that principle, particularly our Commonwealth colleagues who have emphasized the point, caucus will support 2 full-time additional members of staff hired through the Parliament to support the leader of the opposition. And we're going to scour the CIG landscape to see if we can find an office that will be the leader of the opposition's office, when hopefully the longer-term vision to extend the parliamentary estate comes to fruition, and then the office will just be there. So, now we have a proof point that we're all going to work together. And we, as the 19, want to work together to get things done. But here's where Ingrid's speech comes into play, and I didn't know you were going to say this, that the community has to get together, has to lean in, because it can't be all on government. So Cayman Finance comes looking for more promotional resources to promote the jurisdiction around the world. But government can only do so much for all the other initiatives that I mentioned already that need to be funded. And then the nagging question comes in a few years ago, but only one Class A bank, for example, is a member. Where are the rest? Where are some of the other accounting firms? Where are some of the other law firms? Why is it all on government? So now, CNB is a member, Scotia is a member, RBC is a member, and CIBC is a member. Is that correct, Steve? And now, this is just yesterday, Grant Thornton agreed to be a member, and MUFG. Thank you for hearing the call to action and following government's request that we lean in. We need more of it. Now, since you already have a proof point from Cayman Finance, what other examples could we have in the community to lean in? I'm looking at Paul Biles as another example. You have a Financial Services Institute diploma. 6 or 7 grand is a course per student to get them a recognized qualification in financial services. Some of you are wearing that on your wrist. Why not drop that for a student to get ahead and get qualified in the country's #1 industry? If you have other ideas in the commerce space, in the education space, in the housing space, the government is willing to listen and partner. Because the coat of arms, to Ingrid's point, is what matters. It's the community that matters. So to this point, whether I'm on the road or even some local conferences, government will get us officials will get a little snarky remark of, why are you all the only ones that get to wear the lapel pin? I like Cayman too. Why can't I get one? What's so big about you all? The AG has his. I heard that. So the speaker and I are going to be working on a bespoke, specific lapel pin for members of parliament to wear in that small population that even former members can wear. Because nobody knows the job like we do. But if you want to join the call of action, if you want to lean in and take Cayman to its greater potential, please stand and I will have a minister or a caucus member pin a lapel pin on you right now. Stand. Do I take it that the room is unanimous? So do you all want to take this country to its greater heights? Do you want to leave it better than you found it? Do you want to extend Sir Vassal's vision? Then let's get on with it and all get in the game to move this country forward and blow the competition away. God bless you all. God bless the Cayman Islands. And God bless our future.